I thought my best friend was dead. Then I found this. I should have known something was wrong the moment he called me. It wasn't just the time, 2:37 a.m. It was the way he sounded. Panicked, shaky, like he was trying to swallow his own voice. Bro, you gotta come. Please. Just come. No explanation. No details. Just that desperate, cracked voice coming through the phone. You have to understand, my brother Marcus never asked for anything. Growing up, he was the cool one. The one who fought his own battles. The one who'd rather get jumped than ask for help. So when Marcus sounded scared, I didn't even hesitate. I threw on a hoodie, grabbed my keys, and left. I didn't even think to ask where I was going. The streets were dead quiet when I pulled up to the address he texted me. Some rundown part of town I hadn't been to in years. The kind of place where the streetlights flickered like they were scared too. I parked across the street and looked around. Nothing but dark windows and broken fences. Then I saw him. Marcus, standing outside an abandoned house, pacing like a caged animal. He had his hood pulled low, and when he saw me, he sprinted over. Without a word, he yanked open my passenger door and jumped in, slamming it shut behind him. Drive? Now. I didn't ask questions. I just hit the gas. But the way he kept looking over his shoulder, breathing like he'd just run a marathon, made my stomach twist. Finally, when we were a few blocks away, I risked it. What the hell is going on, Marcus? He didn't answer right away. Just stared out the window, fists clenched so tight his knuckles went white. And then, almost too soft to hear, I did something bad. It's amazing how one sentence can change everything. I kept driving, heart pounding, mind racing. What do you mean, bad? No answer. Marcus, talk to me, man. What happened? Finally, he turned to me. His eyes were wide and wild, glinting in the faint glow of the dashboard lights. I didn't mean for it to happen. I swear. For what to happen? He flinched, like my voice had hit him. Then he squeezed his eyes shut and whispered. She wasn't supposed to be there. I slammed on the brakes so hard we both jerked forward. What the hell are you talking about? Who wasn't supposed to be there? Marcus just shook his head, breathing harder, almost hyperventilating. I was starting to panic too. Every horrible scenario you can imagine raced through my mind. A robbery gone wrong. A fight? Worse? Marcus, look at me. Did you hurt someone? He nodded. A tiny broken nod. And then, just as my world started tilting under me, he dropped the bomb. It's someone you know. I swear, I almost threw up right there in the car. Someone I knew. Someone I knew. The words barely formed in my mouth. Who, Marcus? Who? He stared at me, breathing like he couldn't get enough air. And then he said a name that shattered everything. Kayla. My girlfriend. My future fiancée. The girl I'd spent the last 3 years building a life with. The girl I was planning to propose to next month. My hands went numb on the steering wheel. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even think. All I could do was sit there, feeling the entire universe collapse around me. I don't remember how long we sat like that. Finally, Marcus reached over and gripped my shoulder. Listen, man, I didn't mean to. I didn't want any of this to happen. But we have to go back. We have to fix it before. Before what? Before the cops show up? Before she... No. I couldn't even let myself finish that thought. Where is she, Marcus? I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he just looked at me, that same scared, broken look he had when he first called, and said, if we don't go back now, it's going to be too late. I don't know what possessed me to listen to him. Maybe it was shock. Maybe it was denial. Maybe it was some twisted part of me that still believed this was all just a nightmare I hadn't woken up from yet. Either way, I found myself turning the car around, heading back toward that abandoned house, toward whatever horror Marcus had dragged me into. Neither of us spoke during the drive. The silence between us was louder than any argument we'd ever had. I kept sneaking glances at him, hoping, praying he'd say something that would make this all make sense. But he just sat there, hunched over, chewing his thumbnail like he was trying to bite through bone. When we pulled up to the house again, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely put the car in park. Marcus reached for the door handle. Wait. He froze. I swallowed hard. You're gonna tell me everything. Right now. He hesitated, just for a second, and then nodded. We got out and crossed the street together. The house looked even worse up close. Windows boarded up, paint peeling off in sheets. The front door hung crooked on its hinges, swaying slightly in the night breeze. I swear, it felt like the whole place was breathing. Marcus led me around the side, to a broken window half covered by a torn curtain. He crouched down, motioning for me to follow. Reluctantly, I knelt beside him. He pointed inside, and then, voice barely above a whisper, he finally started talking. She texted me, he said. Kayla. She said she needed to talk. Said it was important. Said she couldn't tell you yet. I frowned, confused, angry, terrified all at once. Talk about what? He shook his head. I don't know. But when I got here, she was already inside. She looked scared. He paused, wiping sweat from his forehead. She said there was something she had to confess. About you. About us. He turned and looked at me, eyes wide with something that made my stomach churn. Guilt. Pure, unmistakable guilt. Marcus, what the hell are you saying right now? He looked away, staring into the darkened window. She said she wasn't sure if the baby was yours. I swear the world stopped spinning. The baby? What baby? Kayla wasn't pregnant. At least, she never told me she was. My voice came out as a broken whisper. She's pregnant. Marcus nodded slowly. And she thought it might be yours? Another nod. I stumbled back a step, like he'd punched me in the gut. This couldn't be real. This could not be happening. Why would she think that, Marcus? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. Because deep down, somewhere in the part of me I didn't want to admit existed, I already knew. Marcus and Kayla. The late-night texts she swore were just friends catching up. The weird tension I kept picking up on but forced myself to ignore. The times she canceled our plans last minute because something came up, it was all clicking into place now. And it made me sick. I clenched my fists so hard my nails dug into my palms. You slept with her, I said, flat, emotionless. Because if I let even a drop of feeling into my voice, I knew I'd lose it completely. Marcus flinched, but he didn't deny it. Bro, it was a mistake. It happened once. We were both drunk and once, I hissed. Is that supposed to make it better? He looked like he was about to cry. And for a split second, I wanted to hit him. I wanted to break him the way he broke me. But before I could do anything, before I could even breathe, he grabbed my arm, yanking me back down to the window. Listen, Min, it doesn't matter right now. We have to find her. I stared at him, stunned. Find her? What the hell are you talking about? He pointed into the house. She's not in there anymore. I peered through the broken window. Empty. The room, what little I could see of it, was trashed. Broken furniture. Scattered papers. A lamp knocked over and still rolling slightly on the floor. But no Kayla. No blood. No signs of a struggle. Just emptiness. A cold, hollow kind of emptiness that made my skin crawl. What the hell happened here, Marcus? I rasped. He wiped his mouth, looking around frantically. I don't know. I swear. 1 second she was here, we were arguing, and then I blacked out. I stared at him, stunned. You blacked out. He nodded, trembling now. And when I woke up, she was gone. My heart was hammering so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. This wasn't just a cheating scandal anymore. This was something much, much worse. And the sickest part, I wasn't sure if I was more scared of what had happened to Kayla, or what Marcus might have done without even realizing it. I don't even remember climbing through the broken window. All I knew was that I had to find her. I stumbled into the house, Marcus right behind me, the two of us moving through the wreckage like ghosts. The inside was worse than I imagined. Graffiti on the walls, holes punched through the plaster, a staircase that looked like it would collapse if you breathed too hard. And that smell. Damp, moldy, like something had been rotting in here for a long, long time. I covered my mouth with my sleeve, gagging. Marcus grabbed my arm. This way. He led me down a narrow hallway, the floorboards creaking and groaning under our weight. At the end of the hall was a door, slightly ajar. I hesitated. Everything in me screamed not to open it. But I had no choice. I pushed the door open. Inside was what looked like an old living room. A torn couch sat in the middle, surrounded by broken bottles and cigarette butts. And in the center of the room, a message, spray-painted in huge, jagged red letters across the wall. Liars pay. I froze. My stomach twisted into a knot so tight I could barely breathe. Marcus backed up a step, shaking his head. This wasn't here before. I swear. I turned to him slowly. You're telling me someone else was here? He nodded, eyes wide. Maybe she called someone. Maybe she told someone about the baby. His voice cracked on the last word. I wanted to scream, punch something, anything to wake myself up from this nightmare. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something that made the blood drain from my face. A phone, sitting on the floor near the couch. Kayla's phone. I stumbled toward it, my hand shaking uncontrollably. The screen was cracked, but it lit up when I touched it. And there it was, a missed call. Unknown number. Followed by a text. Only one word. Run. My heart skipped a beat. I showed Marcus the screen. Who the hell was she running from? He swallowed hard. I don't know, man. I don't know. But his voice sounded weird. Off. Like he knew more than he was saying. Before I could press him, we heard it. A noise. Footsteps. Heavy. Deliberate. Coming from upstairs. Marcus and I froze. The footsteps grew louder, closer, until they stopped right above us. I looked up at the ceiling, my heart hammering. Someone was up there. Someone who wasn't supposed to be. Without thinking, I grabbed Marcus and pulled him toward the door. We need to go. Now. We scrambled back through the hallway, knocking into the walls, tripping over debris. When we reached the window we came through, Marcus hesitated. He looked back over his shoulder, eyes wide with something I couldn't read. Guilt? Fear? Something worse? Bro, he started. But before he could finish, we heard another sound. A voice, low, gravelly, and chilling enough to freeze my blood in my veins. I wouldn't leave if I were you. Marcus and I spun around at the same time. Standing at the end of the hallway was a man. At least, I think it was a man. He was huge, easily 6.5 feet tall, with a black hoodie pulled tight over his head. His face was hidden in shadow. But it wasn't just his size that made me back up. It was the way he stood there. Calm. Like a hunter who had all the time in the world. Like he already knew we weren't getting out. The man took a step toward us and smiled. I didn't wait to find out what he wanted. I shoved Marcus through the window, practically throwing him outside, and scrambled out after him. We hit the ground hard, rolling onto the cracked sidewalk. But we didn't stop. We ran. We ran like the devil himself was chasing us. Because maybe he was. We didn't stop running until we reached the car. I fumbled with the keys, hands shaking, finally yanking the door open. We dove inside and I slammed the locks down just as the man appeared at the end of the street. Just standing there, watching, like he wasn't worried at all. Like this was only the beginning. Marcus was gasping for air beside me. We have to find her, he panted. We have to. I turned to him slowly. And for the first time, I said what had been gnawing at the back of my mind since all this started. Are you sure this isn't about you, Marcus? He blinked. What do you mean? I stared him down, my voice low and cold. Because I'm starting to think. Kayla wasn't the only one keeping secrets. Marcus didn't answer me. He just stared straight ahead, breathing hard, his fists clenched so tight his knuckles turned white. The way he looked right then, it scared me more than anything else that night. Because in that moment, I realized something. I didn't really know my best friend anymore. Maybe I never had. I started the car and peeled out of there so fast the tires screamed. Neither of us spoke for a long time. Finally, I broke the silence. You're going to tell me the truth, Marcus. Right now. No more games. He didn't look at me. He just stared out the window, jaw tight. When he finally spoke, his voice was so low I almost didn't hear him. It wasn't just once. I felt like the air got sucked out of the car. What? He swallowed hard. I didn't just sleep with Kayla once. It happened a few times. Over a couple months. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, my mind racing. And you didn't think to tell me? He shook his head miserably. I wanted to. I tried. But every time I saw you, man, you just looked so happy. I couldn't do it. I slammed my hand against the dashboard, making him jump. Don't you dare make this about my happiness. I was shaking all over. You lied to me. You both did. Marcus wiped his face, breathing hard. I didn't think it mattered. I thought it was over. But then, Kayla started saying weird stuff. What kind of stuff? He hesitated. That someone was watching her, following her, sending her messages. I stared at him. And you didn't think that was important to mention before tonight? I thought she was just feeling guilty. I didn't know it was real. I pulled the car over, slamming on the brakes so hard we both lurched forward. Get out, I said. He stared at me, stunned. Bro, come on. Get out. He opened the door slowly, looking at me like he wanted to say something else. But he didn't. He just stepped out into the night, and I hit the gas, tearing away from the curb. I needed to think. I needed to breathe, and I couldn't do either with him around. As I drove, my phone buzzed. Text. Unknown number. Again. My hand shook as I picked up the phone and read it. Just 3 chilling words. You're next. Smiley face. I nearly dropped the phone. I looked in the rearview mirror. Headlights. Far behind me at first, but then speeding up. Getting closer. I pressed harder on the gas, heart hammering against my ribs. Whoever was behind me, they weren't trying to hide anymore. They were coming for me. The road ahead was dark, winding, the trees closing in like walls. I couldn't outrun them here. I had to think. Had to lose them. I yanked the wheel hard, swerving onto a side road I barely saw in time. The car behind me tried to follow, but overshot the turn, skidding off into the trees. I didn't wait to see what happened next. I just kept driving, my breath coming in short, panic gasps. Eventually, I pulled into an abandoned gas station, killed the engine, and sat there in the silence, trying to figure out what the hell was happening. Trying to piece it all together. Kayla, Marcus, the messages, the man in the house, the feeling that this was all connected somehow. But how? And why me? I wasn't the one who betrayed anyone. Unless that's what they wanted me to think. I was still trying to make sense of it when another text buzzed in. Same unknown number. This time, there was a photo attached. I clicked it open, and what I saw made my blood run cold. It was Kayla, tied to a chair, a gag in her mouth, tears streaming down her face. And behind her, standing in the shadows, was the same man from the abandoned house, grinning, waving at the camera. Under the photo, a caption. Come find her, hero, before it's too late.